Hey everybody, I'm back. It's me again. Yeah, here I'm gonna do my season 4 review of Smallville. Continuing this little thing that I'm doing here. So yeah, so right here, season 4, like kind of it begins a few months after the end of season 3, where Chloe's supposedly dead and whatnot, and Clark's gone, and Lana's out in Paris. So, and we also it opens the investigation, and then Clark comes back. He's like sort of reprogrammed in a sense as Kal-El, as reprogrammed by Jor-El to begin the quest. And so remember who he is, and guess who of all people we have a new addition to the series. One that was very welcomed by fans. Lois Lane, played by Erica Durance. He finds her. She comes into town. She's actually Chloe's cousin, investigating her death. That Lionel was sort of responsible for, and then so that's a great addition. I mean, the thing is about Erica Durance, like she didn't start off as a series regular. She was only going to be around for 4 episodes in the beginning, but we actually get to see her a lot more than that. Like since fans demanded to see her more, which honestly was a good addition. I think in a sense she kind of did actually steal the show in a sense. I mean, because I think she had more screen time than like half of the other cast members in the season. So I mean that was a good addition. Another addition we had was in the form of Jason Teague, like played by Jensen Ackles. Like it's funny, like he was actually when the show was starting to begin, like he was second in line to getting the role of Clark Kent. They didn't get the role, but so they brought him back for him to be a new love interest for Lana, of whom he meets while she's in Paris, and they kind of begin a little romance there. And thing about what I like about Jason, I actually kind of like this character, and I like Jensen Ackles, and he was a really stand-up guy. Like I liked how that was. He was someone sort of different to Clark, which was a very different. He was older, more mature, and everything, and all that. And then eventually Lana comes back and he gets a job as a assistant high school football coach, which Clark does try out and everything. And that this is of course after Lionel's convicted of killing his parents, sending his to life in prison, and Lex gets control of Luthor Corp. And yeah, and this season was last season was a bit dark, as said before, as seen. This season was sort of lightened things up a bit, which had to do with finding 3 little mystical stones, which are searched by many of the characters in the series, like Clark, because they're Kryptonian, they're meant for him. Jor-El actually programmed him to find the stones and everything. Since they're a Kryptonian, they hold the knowledge of the universe and everything, and that they're meant for him only, which was a very nice little story arc. It was very I got a lot of people. It was kind of engaging and everything. And then we have Lex, of course, finding them. He was charting off, and Lionel was in the beginning, and eventually what the funny thing is with Lionel, this season he completely changed, which he was last season he was a total baddie. He would pretty much if you get in his way, you're gone. Here he actually changed. He actually came about. He actually did find one of the stones, and here he used the stone to actually transfer his soul, as it were, his essence into Clark's body, and Clark's soul and essence into his. And then Lionel was Clark for the day, which is actually a fun little episode, which is definitely a fan favorite. Transference is what it's called. And and then afterward they transferred back, and he was actually dying because of liver disease, as in from last season. But then he's actually cured, and he says he becomes a good man. He starts a conversion, he sort of becomes his soul is sort of cleansed, the darkness is out of him. He becomes like the total opposite of what he was. He's all kind, and he's actually caring, and Lex has trouble buying that, which he's sort of he was putting on an act and everything. And Lex, in the contrast, Lex starts beginning towards a darker path, and Lionel kind of recognizes everything he's done wrong. He sees in Lex, which is an interesting little dynamic between father and son Luthor. One starts to become good while the other starts to become bad. This season was sort of the turning point for both Luthors, whereas Lex began to descend in the darkness even further. Lionel began his little conversion to being good, which was interesting little contrast and everything. And what else we had? Also another storyline which some fans didn't really like too much, which is the Isabel, the witch possessing Lana. I actually kind of enjoyed that in a sense, although I can understand why some fans wouldn't. But they had Isabel possessing Lana, searching. She's like a witch burned at the stake, searching for the stones and everything, and all that. And then we had Jason back to him again. Like he was searching for the stones, and we have his mother, his overbearing mother, played by Jane Seymour. Like it was great having her around, and then we have, and basically they were searching for the stones as well. And there's like a little connection between the Teague family and Isabel as being the thing, Isabel portrayed, like Genevieve's ancestor when searching for the stones, and then she had it burned at the stake, and Isabel vowed revenge. So and then she's out to like kill off the Teague family and find the stones. Which is like interesting little story, kind of a little ploy, but I mean in a sense, Jason like was kind of a ploy in the story, just part of the whole finding the stones thing, along with. I mean, I liked what I can say about Jason. Like I liked him. Like I actually liked him a lot. Like I felt like he did a lot more than what Whitney Fordman did in season 1. Like they were both acted as boyfriends for Lana, but this guy, I think Jason did a lot more than what Whitney did. Like he was more involved in the story, like the overall story with finding the stones and everything. I think, and I like Jensen Ackles. So and of course later, in the end, like without giving too much away, like well I kind of am, like in the end when there's another meteor shower that happens because one of the stones gets blood on it, like Genevieve, like Lana as possesses Isabel like avenges her death using like this big pointy stone and just like kills her, and then it just and then it sets off the meteor shower, and then because human blood been tainted, Jor-El warned Clark if they found the human hands, it would be the world's destruction. In a sense, it started to come true and everything. In a sense, like Jason ended up becoming a bad guy towards the end. He sounded like he wanted to protect Lana and everything, but really, like him and his mother were kind of using Lana to get the stones and everything. There's a connection how that happened. And also, like, there's also what I really liked was fun was the whole scene, little face off between Lex and Jason. They were sort of facing off, and Jason, in a sense, was not intimidated by Lex or the Luthers at all, unlike some of the other characters, because he comes from a very wealthy family. Him and Genevieve, and of course, what's seen revealed like later on in later seasons, spoiler alert, that they had some history together, finding the stones and whatever else and other stuff, which I'll get into later on. So yeah, it was very nice touch there, and Lionel actually gets out of prison, thanks to Genevieve and everything. And another thing I'll get into this highlight was Lois Lane, how she kind of came along and stole the show. Erica Durance did a good job. I mean, she had more screen time than hell. Jason, Lionel, or even like Jonathan, Martha Kent, and she like kind of just stole the show from everybody in a sense. This is actually probably the first season I watched. With how I got into the show was this season actually. Like at first I couldn't tell. I thought she was like a series regular, like all the people appear in the opening credits and everything, because we see her like so much, but it turns out that she wasn't. I was a little confused, but as it turns out, is because she wasn't supposed to be around. Originally she was only going to be around for 4 episodes, but they brought her back because hey, she's popular. I mean, she stole the show. I mean, come on, and everything. We also see her, Sam Lane and Lucy Lane, which were good additions to see, a part of the Lane family, introducing the more Superman mythology, which is good. Bringing in Lois, and his future love interest, have her move to Smallville, and after spending time with her cousin Chloe, and that was sort of good. And speaking of Chloe, she finds out Clark's secret somehow through one of Clark's ex-psycho girlfriends, Alicia Baker of Meteor Freak, who has the ability to teleport. So she finds that out, and she sort of understands, and she becomes a more loyal friend to Clark towards the end, which is a nice little touch. And since she sort of kind of begins to sort of become a character in her own right, stands on her own. Which fans love her, Chloe, bless her, and everything. And then overall, it was a not thrilling season, really. There are a few low points, like everything, which some didn't like the witch storyline, even though I didn't have a problem with that. Although I can kind of see why with Isabel, which actually for me was actually kind of entertaining. So you had liked Lois coming around, I liked the meteor shower, the stones, Jensen Ackles, whose character dies later in this season because he had commitments to be on he was going to be on the show Supernatural, which I've seen, which is I enjoy also. So yeah, overall good season, thrills, good story, interesting twist, sort of a turning point for some, particularly the Luthers, Lex becoming more evil and Lionel becoming more good, and everything, and Clark playing football, winning the state championship. This is his last year. Their senior year, Clark, Lana, and Chloe's senior year, so it was big, they graduate, and then it kind of ends with a bang, literally, when another meteor shower comes, graduation ceremonies interrupted, yes. So it's definitely a lot of big thrills. I mean, commencement was a good episode, like probably the best, like really a good finale we would have, like for, we wouldn't have another finale like that for until later. So, but overall, good season, really thrilling. So really lots of twists and turns, with the stones and everything, and new characters like Lois Lane like being introduced, and we had Jason for the act as a Jason and Genevieve act as a bigger story arc. So yeah, good stuff. But overall, enjoyed it. Like, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.